welcome to another episode of Unique Professions. Today we are talking about something that's very interesting. It's something that's a little bit unusual. That's why we want it on Unique Professions. It is professional cuddling, and I have two guests today. Anna, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you.
Jo, how are you?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
Excellent. Now, Anna, I'm going to throw it first to you. What is professional cuddling?
All right. So for me, it's actually a couple of things because it started off basically as a way to provide cuddles and physical touch platonically to people who might need it at a particular time in their life. For example, that they're sort of single and don't really want to just be cuddling a friend for a while because it might seem a little bit weird. Or perhaps they are actually in a relationship but just feel that they don't quite have enough of the physical, like platonic, affectionate sort of connection. But then during the COVID period, I've actually expanded it because obviously you couldn't touch. So I started offering my services online. And then basically with that, I've explored connection, just when you can just talk or, just hold space for someone without the physical element. But it's ultimately underneath it all, it's still connection that this is all about to me.
Hey Jo, how important is that connection for you?
Amazing. And I want to just say I had a virtual session with Anna. The only virtual session I had was with Anna, and she's amazing because she is so accepting and so just amazing with listening, and I felt really, really heard and seen, and I felt connected to her. So connection is absolutely possible without touch.
Thank you for that, Jo.
How does the process of connection work? I imagine it'd be tricky to do it.
Well, connection can come in many, many different forms, and it kind of means different things to different people. So for me, I feel connected with somebody when I feel seen and heard. Also, I feel connected with somebody when they're being honest and they're being vulnerable. And that feeling in me is just this peaceful feeling, this very present feeling, and I can feel my heart opening, and I feel really safe and I feel really comfortable. So that's what connection means to me, and it comes in many different forms.
I guess, that being safe, Anna, that's really important to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Ultimately, it's about safety.
Now, Anna, I see that you've got something there sitting on the table, and I have just peered over and had a bit of a squiz. It's something to do called Code of Conduct. Now, can you tell me perhaps maybe some of the most important things within that document?
Sure. So I've got my little cheat sheets here. So the Cuddlist Code of Conduct. So there's about 10 points in there, but a couple of the sort of the key ones are basically around consent, and paying attention to personal boundaries at the time. So basically that also involves communicating what is mutually comfortable throughout the cuddling session. And then, this applies to all communications. So basically prior, during and after the session as well. And then I suppose the other thing also quite important because it is a platonic service. So in terms of the clothing, the minimum clothing requirements, so that would be sort of the other key one.
All right, I'm going to throw this back to Jo. Jo, how did you find, the need for this service?
How did I find it?
Yeah, how did you find that there was an actual need and, people wanted this service?
I wasn't sure if there was going to be a need for the service. I just put myself out there as a cuddle therapist.
I was kind of wondering, how did you approach, people to say, hey, this is my service, this is what I do, and kind of, promote yourself out there?
So how did I promote myself? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, so on Facebook, on some couple of websites where it's a directory. There's one called Cuddle Comfort. So before I had my website, I was just putting myself on some directories like Cuddlist, Cuddle Comfort, and then I got acquaintances booking with me. Actually, I don't really remember because it was 5 years ago, so I don't really remember back then. Yeah.
Hannah, how did you kind of find professional cuddling? Where did you find it?
The way it started for me was because I actually had a need of affection myself. Like
Mhm.
I missed physical contact myself. So I started sort of having a bit of a Google at options.
Yep.
And then basically, came across a few things like, I think that there is sort of hospitals, for example, where we can like cuddle. I forget the specific syndrome, but I think it's basically when parents are affected. I think it might be related to like alcohol abuse
Yep.
and sort of things like that. So basically, it might be like a difficult childbirth and things like that. So you can actually, for example, like cuddle kids that come from those kind of families.
Mhm.
But then I think you have to be. I remember there were some restrictions around doing it, like you have to have some sort of connection to the hospital, maybe having given birth there yourself, or there was some restrictions. I thought, well, that's not an option. Then I sort of thought, oh, well, maybe I could do like pet sitting, because then of course if you're pet sitting or things like dog walking and things like that, then there will be like a bit of a sort of cuddlement. But then I never actually had pets.
Yep.
So on a whilst my my heart might have kind of wanted that, but my brain was stopping myself a bit. So I started digging deeper, and then came across the Cuddle website and Cuddlist.
Yep. And that kind of piqued your interest.
And that piqued my interest. Started looking into it further. Yeah.
Now, Jo, I would assume, and I'm only making an assumption here, that people, your clientele may be, lonely, may have, some form of, undiagnosed depression or do have depression. Do GPs recognise your service? Or is it considered more, non-holistic?
Sorry, GPs? Did you
Yeah.
say?
Do they, encourage
I
your
don't know
service?
about GPs, but I have had a psychiatrist and a psychologist and a
Social worker?
I've had therapists
Yep.
refer people to me.
Yep.
And chiropractors and counsellors and coaches. So yeah, definitely recognised.
Okay, great. What about you, Hannah?
Ooh, haven't quite ventured so far. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm lagging behind here. Yeah, no. So I did talk to a psychologist that I was actually seeing myself. But he was quite happy to promote my service, and I left like some business cards and leaflets in their office. GPs, no, that's still on my to-do list.
Yep.
Because I do realise that more promotion is the key as well. So no, I don't think there was sort of other professions there that I've approached just yet.
Now, I'm going to get a little bit philosophical here, so just bear with me. I think, cuddling, it's almost a need. We need affection as human beings. Is that one thing that you certainly consider when you have your service, Jo? That we do need affection?
Oh yes. Oh yeah, physical touch for most people is an absolute need. It's up there. It's the same as that we need food and drink, housing.
Yep.
Physical touch is huge. It affects our mental state. It affects our immune system. All our systems when we get safe, consensual touch. I mean, not everybody's into this because there's people on the spectrum that do not like being touched, and there are definitely people that don't like touch. But for the most part, yes, people need this. It's part of their well-being.
And now it's actually probably a really important point to bring up as a non-sexual service. Some people may get the misrepresentation. How was the first client for you?
Good. It felt kind of natural. Most of the clients that I do have, it's sort of similar to what you were saying earlier. They perhaps are a little bit lonely. They tend to be not absolutely everyone, but most of them tend to be quite busy men. Mostly single, not every single one of them, but what you were sort of saying earlier, I feel that there is something else going on the mental health. I'm not saying mental health, but they might be a little bit shy, or perhaps a little bit anxious to just go out and meet people as well. Plus, generally they're quite busy, so they haven't actually got much time for that. So my first client pretty much fit that. So he was a single guy, actually originally from the UK, but he was like here for a few years and kind of just seeing how it all goes. Sort of making friends and quite a busy schedule. And that was it was first. No, it was actually quite a good experience. Yeah.
Now, Jo, can you walk us down memory lane and give us your insight into your first client?
Well, I love that you brought this up because it's literally this weekend is the anniversary of when I saw my first client back in, I don't know, I think it was 5 years ago. Yeah. So it was so amazing because I had waited about 5 months to get a client from being advertised on Cuddlist, and I actually, or just putting myself out there, it had been 5 months, and I got this client through Cuddle Comfort, which I was really surprised. And it was wonderful. Yeah, I felt so safe. I felt really comfortable. He was such a sweetheart. He just loved chatting. He'd recently broken up with his girlfriend, and he was feeling, pretty down and lonely, and it was just really, really lovely. Yeah, it was great.
Excellent. Now, I want to know what happens in a typical session.
We cuddle.
Yes, yep.
It's basically, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Everybody asks me this question.
Yeah.
Walk me through a typical cuddle session. I'm like, we just cuddle. We just communicate. We communicate really well, and it starts off with the opening agreement, and it's client-led, so I encourage the client to ask for what they would like. It depends if it's the first session or follow-up session, but in my follow-up sessions, the clients, they just know. They know what they would like, and we just cuddle.
Hannah,
I suppose, though, there has to be some sort of like rules or boundaries or something like that. Would that be correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the sessions are platonic, so completely not sexual. But then on top of that, I've actually got my own sort of boundaries as well. Yeah. So basically, this is something that I actually discuss with the client prior the session. I actually discuss it during this 30-minute intro.
Yep.
That I do. Yeah.
And what's the 30-minute intro like?
Yeah, it's basically just a way to get to know each other a bit. Yeah, so it's really good. So it's another chance basically to go through the Cuddlist Code of Conduct because this is something that when they actually submit a booking request, they're meant to have read that and they sort of tick yes, but whether it's just ticked or whether they've actually read it,
you never know.
You never know, flick and tick. So so I go through that basically, and then go through the personal boundaries as well, and then also what they are hoping to get out of the sessions, and any questions that they might have, and just I suppose trying to establish ultimately a bit of a feel where there would be a fit during a session.
Now, Jo, Anna said something there quite interesting about the client wanting to get something out of the session. What typically is that?
That's a great question because it's an important question to ask the clients, a potential client, what would you like to gain from a session? So I need to know that we're a good fit. I need to feel comfortable that I can actually offer this person what it is that they're looking for, because I don't want to waste their time or their money. And a lot of people come to me because they want to, they kind of fall into two categories. We got the people that want like relaxation. Like, imagine if you go into a spa and you just want to feel pampered and you just want to feel super relaxed because you're stressed out or you're overwhelmed in life. So they're people that fall into the relaxation category. And then you've got another set of people that are usually seeing a therapist, some sort of therapist, and they've had some sort of trauma or they're touch adverse, which means they feel very fearful and nervous around touch because they've had trauma around touch in the past. So these people are coming to me because they're doing the inner work and they want to feel more comfortable and more confident with touch because in their life that's that's causing them some suffering. So I work with a lot of people like that, and they're kind of my favorite people because that's really satisfying because they're on a journey. They're on this beautiful inner journey, and it's so rewarding. Yeah, and I feel very honored to be part of that with clients. Yeah.
Very good. Now, Anna, what sense of satisfaction do you get when you've done a successful session?
Oh, that is a really good question. So a happy client makes me happy as well.
Yeah.
I actually find that the session's quite relaxing myself. So,
Yep.
and I get because ultimately it is about that sort of connection as well. So yeah, so it just feels kind of good in my body. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So that's relaxing for you as well.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, that's good. How has your service or your practice evolved since you started? Jo?
Well, like Anna said, the virtual sessions, were explored during the COVID time, and that was amazing. That was really powerful to realize that this service can extend to that. That we can connect with people through a screen. And so, yeah, my practice has evolved over the years to include virtual sessions. And then I was getting a ton of people reaching out to me wanting to know how to become a cuddle therapist. So I was on the phone chatting with them for ages. And my friends were like, "Do you charge for that?" And I said, "No." And they were like, "Yeah, I think you should charge money for that." So now I offer mentorship for anybody that wants to talk to me about being a cuddle therapist. I've got a list of topics that I can go over, and I've had a few clients come to me for that. And also I've introduced nature relaxation sessions. So these are for people who I can't visit them because I only offer outcalls. So if they can't host, then an option can be to meet in a park and we can have some simple touch, some simple hand holding, hugs, simple cuddle poses on a blanket. And I've actually got a regular who sees me every month in the park. Obviously, it's that seasonal work. You can only do that in the summer, but that's really beautiful. Yeah, so I know that it is very expansive, and there's probably other ideas that I could come up with. And I also offer a virtual online event where it's a small group of people that come and we explore consent and boundary exercises online and other kind of embodiment practices, which are really beautiful and connective. So it's really cool.
Now, you said there earlier that you have invited other people to train up as a cuddle therapist and you give them advice. What makes a good cuddle therapist?
Oh, that's a lovely question. Oh, I'm so great. Is that for me?
Yep.
That question. Oh, okay. This is awesome because I've found personally, just through my personal experience, that compassion and acceptance and patience and being willing to do the inner work. If you've never been self-employed before, this is going to bring up a lot of limiting beliefs and worthiness stuff, usually for people who've never been self-employed before. So you've got to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be willing to do it as a business and do the marketing, and that can bring up some blocks around, things. So.
Anna, how about you?
That is a very good question because as Jo was talking, I actually I just wanted to say that I'm very impressed with Jo's bravery to
Yep.
to basically run this, pretty much full time as a business here with all the, marketing and everything else that's involved. Yeah,
Very
yeah.
impressive.
So it's so I'm super impressed. Yeah. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. What makes a good cuddle therapist? I guess someone that can just really hold space for the other person. Just be really accepting of a non-judgmental of the person, because people come in all, shapes and sizes with all sorts of, traumas and, things that would have happened in their life. So I think it's just being there, holding space for them and whatever they might be going through without judgment.
Now, Anna mentioned something really interesting there, Jo. Something about trauma. Do you find that a lot of your clients have had some sort of trauma in their lives and perhaps cuddling is a release?
Yeah, well, I'm finding that recently, in the last 6 months, that I've had clients come to me. And I don't need to know what trauma they've had because I'm not a psychiatrist or counsellor, so that's none of my business. But what is my business is how they feel about it in their body. Because for me, it's about bringing love and acceptance and allowing of that feeling. And as Anna was saying, providing a safe space for them to feel that they can feel these stuck, trapped emotions that could be in their body. So it's a really somatic experience when we do cuddle therapy, because sometimes I might touch a client and they might just flip out. They might freak out. I had a lady, have a reaction because it brought back a traumatic memory for her. So it's really important to be really gentle and really slow with people that have had trauma, and to tell them that you're safe and that you can stop at any time and that you're in control here. Yeah, it's really beautiful. And I just want to say that Anna has one of the best qualities, I would say, well, cuddle therapist, because listening is a really, really, I want to go back to the qualities of a cuddle therapist, because listening is really, really important. And when I have my session online with Anna, you just listened with an open heart and a really accepting space. So you've nailed it, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Now, Anna, how did you develop your style of professional cuddling? Was Jo one of your mentors? Or?
Well, we do have, because I'm still with Cuddlist at this point. Yeah, so they do provide support. So and then yeah, we did have a few chats with Jo and stuff, mostly through, I think it was WhatsApp and Facebook, I think mostly.
Yep.
Yeah, but that is actually a very good question. Yeah, because it is a bit of an evolution, but I think you also just develop through experience itself, and then the clients that you are actually dealing with. But I have to say that I do like the just the Cuddlist support at this point, so you can just throw a question and just get community of cuddlers to answer. There are other Facebook, like there is another Facebook support group as well that's not cuddler specific too, but I think it's those kinds of supports that are really helpful.
How important to you is that support, of professional cuddlers to other professional cuddlers, and to help them grow?
Well, I think for me, probably would have quit after a couple of months if I didn't have the support of Cuddlist, because I started with Cuddlist and I wasn't getting any clients. I think I just assumed and I expected to get clients right off the bat, and I didn't have. And after a couple of months, I went through a lot of emotions, and that was really uncomfortable. Felt a lot of disappointment, and I was disillusioned a lot by it. But the Cuddlist support, because you get weekly calls with the trainer, and she's amazing, absolutely amazing. So because I attended each of those weekly calls, I felt supported and I felt inspired, and I knew that it would work at some point, and I knew that I'd start getting clients. It was just kind of hanging in there, and I believe that that was perfect what I went through, because I now appreciate having clients, because I know what it's like to not have clients. So the support was amazing, and I would definitely say you need that at the beginning from the start.
And I guess with that kind of support, you're also networking as well, aren't you, Anna?
Well, they were all in America. I didn't know anybody in Australia. It wasn't until I started seeing clients that I got in touch with somebody in Melbourne that had been doing it for quite a long time, and she was seeing lots of clients. So I became friends with her, and that really inspired me and there was a lot of support. But when I first started, there was nothing in Perth. I was the first one, I think, and it was really strange. It was a bit surreal, actually, to be doing something that nobody else is doing in your city.
So you were doing a unique profession.
Yes, you were.
At that point.
Trailblazer.
I'm a bit of a trailblazer. I'll take that.
Yeah, why not? I would too. Now, Anna, how about you? Was you all with Cuddlers? How has that support been for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I've noticed that Jo has mentioned the calls. They still do the calls, but the hours, I guess, when you're in Perth and they're all over in the US, they're not sort of.
There's 12-hour difference.
Yeah, there's a 12-hour difference as well, and then because I'm actually employed in another capacity as well, again had to fit that in with my schedule. So that was a little bit different, but certainly support. Through your emails and your Facebook messages, Facebook posts, things like that. Yeah, they were certainly very useful.
Now, Jo, I'm just going to go back a little bit, probably about 5 minutes ago, about talking about when COVID hit. Obviously, you said you did some online sessions. How did you find that experience delivering online session when there was something that you were a little bit new to you, and compared to doing a face-to-face? What kind of things changed, and what kind of things did you have to navigate?
Oh, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it because I stayed open to being curious, and I had been attending some events every week from Cuddle Sanctuary, which is based in LA. So they put all of their in-person cuddle events online, and they didn't know what they were doing, so they were just making it up as they went along. And I attended them, and they were teaching me all these connective exercises and something called authentic relating games, which are different types of games that you can do. You don't need to be in person for it. You can do it anyway. You can do it on the phone, you can do it on Zoom, you can do it in person if you want. And there's all these exercises that you can learn that connect you to another person on an authentic and deep level, hence why it's called authentic relating games. And I learned all of these really awesome exercises, and I was just really excited to actually do it myself with clients. So from that group, the Cuddle Sanctuary in LA, I actually met some friends there that then became clients, and they just wanted to chat. So they were doing virtual sessions with me, and I think it was a bit of a novelty for them to be talking to somebody in Australia. So I think I was a little bit popular, and they just liked talking. They just liked having a chat. So that's basically all we did. We just talked for the session, and then I did some sessions online with my clients here in Perth online, and I did the connective exercises and authentic relating games with them, and it worked really well. I really enjoyed it. I actually felt sometimes more connected to the person. I had this one experience where I felt more connected to the person on a virtual session because he was opening up and being vulnerable through these games, and that's when I realised that's when I feel connected to somebody. Whereas when we were doing the in-person cuddles, we were just cuddling, and he was very quiet and he didn't really talk much, and so I kind of felt like I wasn't really connecting with him as much. And that's when it really hit me that connection sometimes has nothing to do with touch. And it can have something to do with touch, obviously. Is one way. So connection and touch, that's one way that we can be connected to people, but there's many different ways for connection.
Very good. Now, I'd probably ask both of you this question. How would you like to see your service or your practice or your teaching evolve, let's say, the next 5 years, Anna?
Yeah, so I guess ultimately, I would just like to go more. I mean, blue sky or whatever. Just be mainstream. Like have this service available alongside with, professions like your counselors, your therapists, your other types of other sort of allied health type. Yeah, so that would be really really good. But I guess for me, just to be able to provide that service, to anyone who might sort of need it, whether it's on a shorter sort of basis or whether it's sort of longer, but just I would love people, like a lot of people, just to know that this service actually exists, because I think, despite the promotions and everything else, I think a lot of people still don't really know, because it fits in that sort of niche, between multiple other professions.
Yep.
So just make it more mainstream, I guess, would be my sort of vision.
Yep. What about you, Jo?
This is a great question, because recently I have been reflecting on this, and I've got a few things that I'd like to evolve and expand in, but one of them I will mention is called a triadic model, which is where me and the client work with their therapist. So it could be a psychiatrist or psychologist or counsellor, but they bring me in for the somatic experience. So that's what I'm really interested in, working with a therapist who is giving talk therapy. I think that's an American term, talk therapy, but they're having a client for therapy, and then that client is ready to then experience and embody themselves the touch element, because a therapist doesn't normally touch their clients, because that's not part of what they're offering. But then I would work alongside the therapist with this, not in the same room, not at the same time, but I would have sessions with their client where I'm providing the physicalness, the somatic experience, the embodiment, and that just really, I feel really excited about doing that, because I know I've got colleagues in America that are experiencing this and doing this, working alongside therapists. So I thought, I'm ready for that. I'm feeling, I'm pretty good for that. So I'm gonna call that in energetically.
Now, Anna mentioned something really interesting there a couple of minutes ago about it not being aligned in allied health. What are some of the barriers toward that you need to break down to perhaps get that into that allied health space?
A barrier might be there might be some misunderstanding around what cuddle therapy is. So that could be a barrier. I don't really know what the barriers could be. I think I've got a lot of my clients now telling me that they're sharing with their therapist what cuddle therapy is, and a lot of them say to me that they've already heard about it.
Yeah.
So I think actually more people know about cuddle therapy than we're actually led to believe. It's just people might not understand exactly what it is. So I think education is really, really important there.
And perhaps maybe information as well, to break down that, wall of, the not knowing as well. I think that's probably one key factor as well.
Can I just add to
that?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you go for it.
Yeah. No, I'm actually wondering whether it's still a bit of that stigma about, is it really non-sexual?
Yeah.
I honestly think that, because, cuddles, as sad as it may sound, but, cuddles touch, really is just a cover for something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's still, around that kind of.
And of course,
area.
it's a non-sexual service that you actually do, and maybe some people think, oh, cuddling, because it's part of that intimacy as well, because it's very, cuddles are intimacy. You usually do it, maybe with a friend, but a lot of the time it's behind closed doors or that kind of thing. So I certainly understand where Anna's coming from there. All right. Now I do have a couple more questions. Then I think we're done. What? Anna kind of touched on this earlier that Cuddlist, was your big thing that got you into it, got you educated. And now, Jo, you said you're a bit of a trailblazer. What was the key moment where you went, aha, this is exactly what I've been called for to do?
I think the moment that I realised I wanted to be a cuddle therapist, or back then it was called professional cuddling, and the term is interchangeable, it means the same thing. But anyway, professional cuddling, when I first saw a documentary with Faye, was from Cuddle Sanctuary in LA, I saw her on this 60-second documentary thing on Facebook, and the way she was talking about it was so articulate and so gentle and so professional that I was just watching this going, that's it. That's who I want to be. She's the most inspirational person I've ever had, basically. And I thought, that's it. And she inspired me. And I remember telling her that one day, and she was just thrilled. So yeah, that was the moment.
Now I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark here. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm on the ball, but there's no actual professionally recognised training, is there, Hannah?
Training?
Yeah.
So Cuddlist does provide online training for this, and I think Cuddlist is probably the most sort of structured, I suppose, company in that area. So there is, and I think they're actually changing. They're actually upgrading their training modules, with the new website, and then just revising all the modules at the moment. But it's not like a
medical degree or
there is a piece of it's not like a diploma or it's not so
okay. And I think Jo, this is something that maybe the industry could strive for, that perhaps it could be aligned in that medical model, or the allied health model, to be actually more formally recognised.
Yeah, they're definitely actively working on that in America.
Yep.
There's a core group of people that have been doing this for at least 7 years in America, and they're always talking about getting this licensed or properly, with an association. And there's pros and cons to that. Yeah, they're always discussing it.
Yeah, I guess I can probably say one of the pros. You might get more legitimacy. I think that could be I think that's probably one of your barriers, that people just think it's a lot of hogwash, or don't take it seriously. But because it's not a legitimate, not legitimate, but it's not seen as legit. It's not like I have to go study uni for 4 years and get a degree. And I think that's probably where if I'm sitting on the fence here, that's where I do know a lot about the allied health industry as well, being involved in it. But that's probably one of the barriers that I can certainly see, is that it's not. You can't go out. You don't go study uni. You don't do the hard slog like a nurse, a doctor, physiotherapist, and all that kind of jazz. I certainly think that's probably your number one barrier. What do you think, Jo?
Yeah, for a lot of people that is, And also for other people, it's they're drawn to becoming a client because they are in touch with their intuition, and so they can look at a website and watch somebody's videos, for example, and they just know. I've had people come to me and they say, "I just knew I had to see you," because they're in touch with intuition. They're in touch with their heart, and they just know that this is something that they want to explore. I had somebody recently Googling what's it called? One of those pillows that you can buy, like a massive pillow that you can hug in
Yeah,
bed.
yeah.
And he was Googling that, and he said my website popped up, and I thought that was cool. Thank you, Google, the algorithm there. And my website popped up, and he looked at it, and he said to me, "That's what I was looking. I was actually looking for you for your services, but I didn't know your services existed until I saw your website." And he just knew exactly that's what I need. So I know there's people out there that need and want cuddle therapy, and they'll come across it at perfect timing because that's what I trust.
Where would if someone is looking for you, where would they find you? How do they get access to your service?
For me, they go online and they can type in cuddlehaven.com.au. That's my website.
Yes, and I will put up a link when this episode comes out, so no worries. What about you, Anna?
So I'm on Cuddlist.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you just look up your name and...
Yep, look up my name and then you can book a request for that.
Excellent. Well, on that note, Anna, I'd like to thank you very, very much for joining me.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Jo, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right,